You've heard it called all sorts of things. Hillbilly hot tub, redneck hot tub, stock tank tub, outdoor bathtub, mini hot tub, and trailer trash tub, which I especially like the best.
Howdy, partner. What you up to? Saccato's my name, and I'm insane. Thought I'd show you my little backyard bathtub here. My hillbilly hot tub, or whatever you'd like to call it. Tell you all about it here in my video. Yeah!
What's rough? I hope you really dig this video. Please subscribe to the Saccato channel. Do it.
Whatever it is, it's really not that enjoyable unless it's easy and practical to use. If you have to heat your water with firewood through a wrought iron stove and wait 3 hours for it to heat up, that's usually not desirable unless you're staying in a cabin in the woods on vacation. But it still isn't practical. You want something you can hop in after work and read a book or just relax while the hot water is creeping up around your body. Specifically, if you've always loved taking baths, like I do, but you're at the age where you feel like you must be Houdini or a yoga master to fit in that ever-shrinking bathtub inside of your house. The first thing, however, before we get into this, is you have to have quick access to hot water. If you can plumb your own hot water to the side of your house, where you also have a cold water spigot, then you're halfway there already. I was lucky. We have a crawl space under one of our bathrooms, so I was able to connect to the hot water there and bring it right to the side of the house. I used the Shark Bite push-on plumbing products or similar type products to connect to some PEX pipe. I'm showing you a really sped up video of how I did my plumbing right now. It's really quite easy if you consider yourself any type of a handyman. If you don't, then ask one of your buddies, if you're not embarrassed, that is. If you don't have access to a crawl space, or if your plumbing is deep inside your house and you have a cement floor, then you're going to have to be a really good handyman, or you're going to have to call a plumber and find out if it's worth your dollars to try to make an outdoor bathtub. You'll have to decide for yourself. Another thing you'll have to consider is whether you have a big enough hot water tank to supply the hot water needed. That's what I wondered too. Well, watch my video on my YouTube channel about installing the Apollo Tank Max, which I bought off of Amazon. There are other similar products that should work just fine. I just happened to buy the Tank Max product because at the time it was the least expensive product in this arena. I was hoping to get maybe 75 gallons of hot water since the average tub holds approximately 42 gallons. I thought with 75 gallons I could fill my new outside tub up enough so that if I stretched out in it, it would cover most of me, and I would be happy with that because I just have a regular size hot water tank. But the Tank Max really surprised me. I think it helps to have a gas hot water tank which replenishes hot water faster than an electric. But still, I was pleasantly surprised. So again, I refer you to watch my video about installing the Tank Max on your hot water heater. If you have Insta-Hot, then you have no worries. You can buy as big of a tub as you want. Considering tubs to use, there are many. You could spend a ton of money buying an outdoor bathtub, but this video is all about a hillbilly hot tub, so that usually means trying to save money and using common sense. There are all sorts of ideas, but usually something like a stock tank or stock tub comes to mind. I've seen lots of watering troughs in metal, and metal is fine, especially if you have unending hot water. However, metal tubs lose heat fast unless they're well insulated. That's why I wanted a plastic bathtub. Plastic doesn't conduct heat well, which is good because it won't lose it well. Also, it's lighter to move around. I found the poly-round end stock tanks from Balin Country would work best for me. I'm not promoting that brand or anything, but it was the one I most liked, especially the 6-foot long ones, so I'd be able to stretch out in my tub fairly well. The one in this video is 2 feet wide by 2 feet high by 6 feet long. It worked out great for me. Some people have commented about this tub that after pouring water out of it sideways, some yucky green water or black water will spill back into the tub because there are holes around the bottom of the upper lip that runs around the tank. This is true, I've noticed, but I drilled out these holes here, as you can see, and as long as I turn my tub slowly back up after pouring the water out, say some old rainwater, the dirty water doesn't wash back into the tub. This whole problem could be prevented by sealing the holes under the lip with a clear type of sealant. You could use a sealant like the type you'd use to seal metal seams and gutters. I don't know if I would use silicone sealant because that might start to grow mold around it. The hard sealant just becomes like hard plastic, so I think it might work better. There's one called Seamer Mate that I've used on my gutters, and I think it would dry hard and clear. I haven't done it yet, but I've thought about it. It hasn't bothered me much since I drilled the holes where I showed them placed. This tank is plastic and it doesn't lose heat nearly as much as a metal tank, but it still does. I've noticed it could use some definite insulation if I ever used it in, let's say, 45-degree Fahrenheit weather or lower. I found that just placing this old green sleeping roll material underneath it helps some when it's cold out. If you had something like this around the whole tub, it would really help hold in the heat. Or if your tub was buried in the ground, that would probably hold in the heat too, especially if you put insulation around it first. However, then you have to make sure you have a good drain hole, and it makes it harder to clean out without being able to tip it over. I suppose you could place a cover on it. With mine, when I drain it, people ask me, where do you drain yours? Well, I just drilled a tiny hole in it, and it drains out slowly overnight usually. And it's in my backyard on some landscaping I did years ago, where I put in a small retaining wall, and underneath that there's gravel that creates a drain, and then it kind of goes around the house. It's kind of like a French drain. It ends up going around the house and going out to the front of the house into a ditch. So it's fine. I could probably even just let it gush out if I wanted to, but I just thought the slower the better.
I love the bubbles.
If you have trouble finding the exact tub that you want, be sure to ask around at any stores that sell similar products if they would order the product you want. I found 3 stores nearby that carried Balin Country products. 2 of them didn't seem too keen on doing a special order for me, but one store seemed more than happy. That store told me that I would just have to wait until they had enough items to place on an order so that the store would not be charged for the delivery. They said it could be up to 2 months, but it turned out being only a couple of weeks. I saw the exact tub I wanted on Amazon, but it was over $400. I'm sure that most of that was for shipping. I ended up getting my tub for approximately $160 plus tax. Of course, I did have to drive to the store and pick it up. Luckily, I had a pickup truck at the time.
Heck, I only get clean about once every couple months anyhow. I really like this tub for cleaning, especially on Saturday night. You know, might be going out with the ladies.
Of course, every tub needs a faucet because you don't want to have to turn on hot and cold from the spigot sticking out of your house. Besides just being a hassle getting up and walking over to them to turn them up or down every few minutes, you also wouldn't want hot water burning you from one hose while cold water was coming from the other. So, I bought this laundry faucet at Amazon. I got this one from Amazon for just $21 because it had been returned and was on one of their sales as used. There was one little metal arm on it that was bent. Well, it turns out I had to break off the bent arm and another because the rim around my tub was too big. So it worked out for me just fine. I see the brand I bought is about $50 new, but here's a similar one for $39. I don't think it much matters what brand you use, and if you can get a better deal, that'd be great too. You might even get a better deal if you live near one of those stores that recycle building supplies from old houses that are being torn down or remodeled. You can even attach a hose to the end of my faucet here and put a sprayer on it, or just put a hose on it like I've done. The hose just comes down into the tub and is quiet when it's filling up, so it's not making that splashing, pouring sound. The type of sound that will cause your nosy neighbor to wonder what the hell you're doing over there, and to spy through the fence cracks and see you in your birthday suit. Now, there are 2 addendums I would like to add to my Apollo Tank Max video, and they are the following. First, the temperature reading I originally read at my downstairs bathroom faucet and at the faucet of my HillBilly bathtub should have read a few degrees higher. At the present time I can't remember exactly, but I'm thinking approximately 3 or 4 degrees higher. This is because in the video I was scanning the temperature off of a piece of steel that was in the water. On a later date I tried scanning the temperature reading at the same place using the same scanner from a piece of aluminum, and both readings were higher. I presume this is because aluminum conducts heat more than steel does. The second item I wanted to mention regarding that previous video is that in that video I mentioned that I did not drain and flush my hot water tank, although the directions on the Apollo Tank Max say that you should. Later on, I noticed a few bits of sand or metal or dregs from the tank had landed in the screens on my faucets, so I had to take the ends of the faucets off and rinse them out. This obviously makes me think that I should have taken the time to drain and rinse out my hot water tank. I'm thinking that some of these disrupted floating particles could have found themselves inside the Apollo Tank Max and messed it up. So far it hasn't, but I presume it could, and that it probably is a good idea to go ahead and drain and flush your tank before installing the Apollo Tank Max. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the Psychoto channel.
Yeah!
Just click here to subscribe to the Psychoto channel. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe already. Why don't you?